open your book, page 96. Okay, page 96, precipitation. Okay, for precipitation and neutralization, for both of these things, I told you that both of these methods, these are reactions. They are the methods to prepare salts. Okay, in both of them, we will prepare salts. So in neutralization reaction also, acid is reacted with any metal source. Okay, it can be any metal source. It can be metal oxide, metal hydroxide, metal carbonate, or a metal itself. Okay, but it should be, there should be a metal in it. So whenever a metal is reacted with an acid, then that metal will take hydrogen's place. Okay, and we will get salt. Okay, salt plus water. So this is neutralization, in which we neutralize the solutions. Okay, now in precipitation reaction, we get insoluble product. Okay, insoluble product, they are also known as precipitates. There are two ways to form these insoluble products. These they can be insoluble salts and they can be insoluble other thing also. Okay, other than salt. So precipitation, a sudden formation of a solid. Okay, this is precipitation. A sudden formation of a solid substance is precipitation. Either when two solutions are mixed. So there are two methods. First one is when two solutions are mixed, or when a gas is bubbled. So number two is when a gas is bubbled into a solution. So there are two methods of to prepare precipitates. Okay, number one, when two solutions are mixed, and number two, when a gas is bubbled into a solution. So the first one, for both of them, the examples are mentioned in the book. This is the first one, first method, when we mix two solutions. So we have two solutions of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. Okay, so we have lead nitrate, it's a soluble salt, plus we have potassium iodide, which is also a soluble salt. Means soluble means they are dissolved in water. Okay, so we have two solutions and they both are salts dissolved in water. Okay, and when we mix these two solutions, we will get another solution, okay, of a soluble salt but with precipitates. Okay, which will settle down at the bottom. So as a result, we will get one insoluble salt. Okay, this one, potassium iodide, lead iodide. This is insoluble salt, plus we will get one of the soluble salt. Okay, so one soluble salt means one liquid. In the aqueous form, we will get the soluble salt, and one salt is prepared which is insoluble. Okay, so in this reaction, it's like lead nitrate and potassium iodide. When these two things are reacted, then the bond will break. For both of them, the bond will break. Potassium, this lead will react with iodine to form lead iodide. Okay, and potassium will react with nitrate to form potassium nitrate. Okay, and all nitrates are soluble. Okay, we will learn this in we'll learn the list in chapter 5. Okay, the list of soluble and insoluble salts. So right now, just remember that all nitrates are soluble in water. Okay, so if the nitrate is produced, potassium nitrate, so it means it's a soluble and the other one will be insoluble. Okay, so lead iodide is insoluble, so it will settle down. This arrow, this downward arrow, is for the precipitates. Okay, the precipitates which will settle down at the bottom of the beaker. So these are precipitates, lead iodide, and they are yellow in color. Okay, the second method is the lime water test for carbon dioxide, which we know. The lime water is calcium hydroxide. This is lime water. And when we pass carbon dioxide in it, okay, through it, when we pass carbon dioxide gas, then calcium will react with carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate, okay, and water. So calcium carbonate is insoluble. Okay, it's insoluble, white in color, insoluble solid, very tiny solids. Okay, very tiny solids. They look like flakes and very tiny flakes. So it will settle down at the bottom because they are precipitate. So this calcium carbonate is actually the reason behind the lime water turning milky or cloudy. Okay, so when we have a lime water and we pass carbon dioxide, we allow carbon dioxide to enter in it, then the calcium carbonate will start to form. Okay, and calcium carbonate are white precipitates. Okay, so first of all, these precipitates will swim in the whole solution. Okay, so it appears, because of these white precipitates, it appears cloudy. Okay, and after some time, when we leave it for few days, not for few days, for few hours, then these white precipitates will settle down at the bottom. Okay, so this is the second method. So first method to form precipitates is by mixing two solutions, two salt solutions. Okay, and the second one is by bubbling any gas into, or by reacting any gas with lime water or with any solution. Okay, precipitation reactions are very useful in analysis and are also used in the paint industry for making insoluble pigments. Okay, is a suspension. It has precipitates in the solution. Okay, it's a suspension. So paint is not a solution, it's a suspension. And you can see it in diagram. This is A. We have lead nitrate. It is written on the jar, glass jar, lead nitrate solution. And on the other hand, we have potassium iodide. They are mixing the two solutions, and we are getting yellow precipitates. These yellow precipitates are of lead iodide, okay, which we studied above. And the second diagram, this diagram B, is of lime water turning milky because of calcium carbonate. Okay, precipitates, white precipitates. Is precipitation clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now we have displacement reactions. Okay, displacement reactions definition is written here. A displacement reaction occurs because a more reactive element will displace a less reactive element, less reactive one from a solution of one of its compounds. Okay, so this is the definition, that a more reactive one will displace a less reactive one from a solution. And for this type of reaction, for displacement reaction, we have activity of the substances. Okay, that which one is more reactive and which one is less reactive. So inshallah, where after, like in, I think topic 4.5, the electrolysis is starting. So in electrolysis we will study the reactivity series. Okay, we will study the reactivity series for metals and non-metals both, that which one is more reactive. So we will know that which one is more reactive and which one is less reactive. Okay, reactive, the ability to react. And it's important to know for the displacement reaction. This example is the competition or the displacement between, okay, and this reaction which is written above combustion, this reaction is the competition between halogens, between non-metals. Okay, so competition or displacement reaction can happen between metals and it can happen between non-metals also. So see here, zinc plus copper sulfate. Here, what are the two metals here which are competing with each other?
Zinc and copper.
Yes, we have zinc and copper. So zinc is more reactive than copper. Okay, so zinc will displace copper and it will take its place and copper will come out. Okay, so zinc sulfate will form in first we have copper oxide, and because zinc is more powerful, so zinc sulfate will form and copper will come out. Okay, the second reaction is between acid and a metal. Okay, in the neutralization reaction, I told you that whenever an acid is reacted with a metal, then a salt is formed. Okay, and the metal will displace hydrogen, it will take its place. So if the metal is more reactive than hydrogen, then obviously it will displace hydrogen and we will get magnesium chloride. Okay, so when we study the reactivity series, okay, when we will study, we will see that in reactivity series we have like the metals, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, so on. In the middle we have hydrogen also. Okay, in the middle, in the reactivity series we have hydrogen, and then we have more elements, more metals like copper, silver, gold, platinum, like this. Okay, so in the middle of metal reactivity series we have hydrogen also. So it means that some of the metals are more reactive than hydrogen and some metals are less reactive than hydrogen. Okay, so if it's acid or water or any hydrogen compound is reacted with a metal which is more reactive than hydrogen, then it will take its place. it will displace hydrogen, otherwise it will not. Okay, like if we, for example, if we react gold with HCl, okay, then there will be no reaction because gold is less reactive, very, very less reactive than hydrogen. Okay, here, okay, at the end of the reactivity series. So if the metal is more reactive than hydrogen, then it will displace hydrogen, otherwise it will not displace. Okay, got it? Boys, understood or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Some metals are so reactive that they will displace hydrogen from water. Okay, so this is K is present, potassium is present in group 1. So mainly group 1 and group 2 metals are very, very reactive. Okay, so there are some metals because we know that water is a very, very stable compound. Okay, water is very stable compound. So it's very difficult to break water or to take hydrogen's place in water. Okay, so but some metals are so reactive that they can even displace hydrogen from water. Okay, and they will form KOH plus hydrogen. Okay, potassium hydroxide. So this is the reaction for the formation of alkali. Okay, formation of alkali. So alkali is formed when the metal displaces hydrogen from water. Okay, so this is displacement. Halogens can be placed in order of reactivity using displacement reactions. Okay, so it can be done in halogens or between non-metals. Like for halogens, if we write halogens, group 7, then fluorine. Do you remember the order of halogens? The order fluorine, then fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine, astatine. Okay, this is the order of halogens: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Halogens means group 7. Okay, and in group 7, as we go down, their reactivity decreases. Okay, their reactivity decreases. So in this equation, you can see here there is chlorine and iodine. So chlorine and iodine, which one is more reactive?
Chlorine.
Chlorine.
Yeah. Okay, which are in the starting, chlorine is more reactive, so chlorine will take iodine's place, and potassium chloride will form, iodine will come out. Okay, and always remember, whenever you write the halogens in like separately, alone form, then they will be diatomic. Okay, always write Cl2 and I2, F2, Br2, like this. Okay, so is displacement reaction clear? Okay, I guess it's clear. It's okay. Now it's combustion, oxidation, and reduction. Okay, all these three, they are linked with each other. Combustion reactions are of great importance and can be very useful or destructive because they produce energy. Okay, combustion reactions produce energy. So some of the reactions, they produce mm, uh, some amount of energy which is useful for us. Okay, and some combustion reactions, they produce a huge amount of energy that they can even burn. Okay, they produce flames, so that's destructive then. Okay, so it can be useful or it can be destructive because of the energy amount they produce. Okay, so combustion reactions are highly exothermic. The reaction of a substance with oxygen causing the energy causing the release of energy. Okay, the reaction is exothermic and often involves flame. Burning is combustion in which a flame is produced. Okay, so burning is a combustion when it produces so much amount of energy that it results in flames. Okay, so that's burning. So a matchstick burning, paper burning, like anything which burns. Okay, wood, fuel, petrol, anything. The burning process is always combustion, means a hydrocarbon is burned. Okay, when you burn a plastic is also hydrocarbon. Okay, when you burn wood, paper, like anything, it is hydrocarbon. Okay, burning is from hydrocarbons. So this is a simple reaction, that when a hydrocarbon, methane, it reacts with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide and water always. Okay, a hydrocarbon, see, A hydrocarbon is made up of carbon and hydrogen. Okay, it can be like any number of carbon and any number of hydrogen. So C and H. Now, when we react it with oxygen, then some of the oxygen will react with carbon to form carbon dioxide, and some of the oxygen will react with hydrogen to form water. Okay, so carbon dioxide and water, these are the two things which we always get in combustion. Okay, remember this thing. Whenever we burn any hydrocarbon in the presence of oxygen, so we get carbon dioxide and water in complete combustion. Okay, and plus a large amount of energy. And combustion can not only happen outside, it can also happen inside our bodies. Okay, inside our bodies, we eat food, and from the food, we get many nutrients. Okay, can you name some of the nutrients that we eat, that we get?
Vitamin
Yeah.
A, vitamin E, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D.
Okay, lots of vitamins. Collectively, vitamins. Okay.
Iron,
I've-
vitamins, minerals,
Fiber.
yeah, all the elements, minerals. We
proteins, fats,
very good. We get proteins, fats. We get
Carbohydrate.
protein, carbohydrate,
carbohydrates. Yeah, very good. Okay, these are the nutrients.
fat.
So in these nutrients, carbohydrates. Okay, the name is indicating carbo and hydrates, carbon and hydrogen. So it means carbohydrates, they are hydrocarbons which are present in our body. Okay, so hydrocarbons are not only present outside the body, in outside environment, they're also present inside the body in the shape of hydrocarbons. Sorry, carbohydrates. Okay,
And
so
but they
when these
also have oxygen.
Hmm?
They also have oxygen.
Yeah, they also have oxygen. So some of the carbohydrates, they have oxygen, some of them have nitrogen attached with them. Okay, like there are other elements also attached, but mainly they're made up of carbon and hydrogen. Okay, they're the compounds of carbon and hydrogen mainly. So later on in you will study when in grade 9, when you study organic chemistry, then you will see that in hydrocarbons, oxygen is also present, which is known as alcohol. Okay, and sometimes oxygen is bonded with, like it's bonded with the double bond with carbon, so that's a ketone and aldehydes. So we have carboxylic acids also. Okay, so there are different chemicals which contain other elements also, but mainly it is composed of carbon and hydrogen. The main components are carbon and hydrogen, okay, in them. So when these hydrocarbons, carbohydrates, they burn in our body with oxygen, they give carbon dioxide and water again. Okay, these carbohydrates, they are in the form of fats. Okay, all the fats which are present in our body, the oils which are present, sugar. Okay, sugars which are present like glucose, fructose, okay, lactose, these things which are present in the body, they are all carbohydrates. Okay, and when they burn, the equation is written here on the next page. When the glucose, okay, the example of glucose is written. When glucose is burned in oxygen, okay, because we inhale oxygen, so we get oxygen in our body. Okay, we take oxygen. So when it reacts with oxygen, it burns with oxygen, then it produces carbon dioxide and water. Same. Okay, the same, the product of combustion. Water is essential, so we will use water, and carbon dioxide is of no use. It's harmful for our body, so we exhale it out. Okay. So this reaction is called respiration. And this is opposite to photosynthesis. If you see that photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water, plants take carbon dioxide and water, and with sunlight, they will produce glucose and oxygen. And in respiration, it's glucose which is burning and it produces carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so it's opposite to photosynthesis, this reaction. Okay. Now combustion reactions, the substance involved is oxidized. Okay, it's always oxidized. Like I made this before, that whatever carbohydrate we have, when it is burned in oxygen, then oxygen will react with carbon, is added into the carbon to form carbon dioxide, and oxygen is also added in hydrogen to form water. Okay, so in both of these things, oxygen is added. Okay, it's addition of oxygen, and addition of oxygen is oxidation. So combustion reaction is also the example of oxidation. Okay. So remember this thing that combustion is also oxidation. And oxidation can be other reactions also, like this one. Copper plus oxygen under the influence of heat, it gives copper oxide. So copper oxygen is added in copper to make copper oxide. This is simple oxidation reaction. Okay, and we will say that copper is oxidized. Okay, the substance in which oxygen is added, that is oxidized. Okay, and we can reverse this reaction also. This reaction is oxidation. And what is the reverse of oxidation?
Reduction.
Yeah, reduction. Okay, the opposite of oxidation is reduction. Oxidation is the addition of oxygen and reduction is the removal of oxygen. Okay, so here we have, if we prepared copper oxide by the addition reaction, okay, and when we have copper oxide and we reacted with hydrogen, we pass hydrogen gas from through it, then this hydrogen will take oxygen with it to form water and it will form copper. Okay, so here the oxygen is removed from the copper oxide. Reduction is happening. Okay, removal of oxygen is happening. So this copper oxide, we will say that copper oxide is reduced. Okay, so the substance in which oxygen is adding, okay, which is adding oxygen in it, that is oxidized, and the substance from which oxygen is removed, that substance is reduced. Okay, you can see here the diagram. Copper powder and oxygen is entering. So oxygen plus copper, it will form black copper oxide. Okay, and the opposite reaction, when the hydrogen is entering, then hydrogen will react with copper oxide. It will take oxygen with it and we will be left with orange copper. Okay, so this reaction is reversible. Extra hydrogen will come out. Okay, excess hydrogen means extra hydrogen. Okay, and this oxidation and reduction can happen in one reaction also, like at the same time. See the same reaction of copper oxide plus hydrogen. Okay, the same reaction, copper oxide turning to copper, it is reduction because oxygen is removed. Okay, and from hydrogen to water, oxygen is added into hydrogen, so this is oxidation. Okay, now which substance is oxidized and which substance is reduced here?
Ma'am,
Copper oxide
Cu
reduced
is
and
reduced
hydrogen
and H2
oxide.
is oxidized.
Okay, yes, copper oxide is,
Reduced.
Reduced,
and hydrogen is
oxidized.
Oxidized.
good, oxidized. Okay, if a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen, it is reduced. Okay, then okay, this is another example, zinc oxide plus carbon. Zinc is okay, sorry boys. Yes, in this reaction, from zinc oxide to zinc, oxygen is removed. So it is,
Reduction,
yes, reduced. And oxygen, from carbon to carbon monoxide, oxygen is added. It's oxidation. So carbon is,
oxidized.
Oxidized, yeah. And always remember that this reduced and oxidized substances, they are always from the reactant side. Okay, they will never be from the product side, so always find them in on the reactant side. They can ask you in the questions that this is a reaction, so identify which substance is reduced and which substance is oxidized. Okay, so you have to always find them on the reactant side, that which in which oxygen is added and in which oxygen is removed. Okay, now on the next page there are two very important terms: oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Okay, important terms, but they are really easy: oxidizing and reducing agents. Let's take the example of same equation. Zinc oxide plus copper, sorry, plus carbon gives zinc plus carbon monoxide. Okay, this was the reaction. Now from zinc oxide to zinc, that's reduction because oxygen is removed, and we will say that zinc oxide is reduced. Okay, from copper to copper, from carbon to carbon monoxide, it's oxidation because oxygen is added, and we will say that copper is being oxidized. Okay, now there are two other terms: oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Reducing agent is the one which is removing oxygen from the other. Okay, which is snatching oxygen from the other. So here from zinc oxide to and carbon, which one is snatching oxygen from the other, taking oxygen from the other?
Carbon.
Yeah, very easy. Carbon is taking oxygen from zinc oxide. So carbon is said to be reducing agent. Okay, reducing agent, because it is taking oxygen from the other. And oxidizing agent is the one which is adding oxygen to the other. So which one is adding oxygen or giving its oxygen to the other?
Zinc.
Zinc.
Zinc oxide full. Okay, full zinc oxide, which is giving oxygen to the other. Zinc oxide is giving its oxygen. It's adding oxygen into the carbon. So zinc oxide is oxidizing agent. Okay, the substance which is reduced, it is oxidizing agent. Okay, and the substance which is oxidized, it is also reducing agent, the opposite things. Okay, so remember that with the substance which is reduced is also oxidizing agent. Okay, because itself it is giving it is removing oxygen from it. Okay, but it is removing oxygen or giving oxygen to the carbon, so it's reduced and oxidizing agent both. Okay, and carbon is gaining oxygen, so it's oxidized, and it is removing oxygen from zinc oxide, so it's reducing agent. Okay, and these four terms: reduced, oxidized, reducing agent, oxidizing agent, these four terms are always from the reactants. Okay, never from the product, so don't find them from the reactants. If you have to tell about oxidizing agent, then say full zinc oxide, don't say zinc. Okay, zinc, it will become product then. So always say zinc oxide is reduced and zinc oxide is the oxidizing agent. Okay, the definition is written: the reducing agent, an element or compound that will remove oxygen from other substance, is a reducing agent. Okay, and oxidizing agent is written that a substance that will add oxygen into the other substance. Okay, reducing and oxidizing agent. So these reducing and oxidizing agent, these terms will come again when we study electrolysis. Okay, so inshallah I will explain you again over there also, but in terms of electrons. Okay, and they are really important: oxidized, reduced, oxidizing agent, and reducing agent. Any question?
Ma'am, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Ma'am, oxidizing is the loss of electrons.
Oxidation is loss of, yes, loss of electrons, yes, and reduction is gain of electrons. Good. Okay, here now in the last, just very quickly, there are two examples of oxidation from daily life. The first one is corrosion, that we all know that metals get oxidized. Okay, metals, when they react with oxygen, they corrode, they form rust. Okay, so iron, when reacts with oxygen and water, it gets oxidized and form iron oxide, which is rust. Okay, silver also, silver Ag, it gets oxidized and it will form tarnish. Have you seen the silver jewelry becoming black, or silver something, silver utensils becoming black or gray?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The
Hmm?
spoons.
Yeah, the spoons, that's tarnish. Okay, they get oxidized. So when they are wet and they are exposed to open environment, then they become oxidized. Okay, they tarnish. So this is corrosion. And rancidity. Rancidity is when the food get oxidized. Okay, so the dairy products mostly, when we leave milk or milk, yogurt, cheese, cream, margarine. Okay, these things, when we leave them in an open environment, then they become oxidized. So their taste changes, their smell changes, their texture changes. Okay, so they become salty and sour in taste sometimes. Okay, so that is known as rancidity. Okay, so oxidation also has damaging effects on food. When the fats and oils in butter and margarine are oxidized, they become rancid, their taste, smell change. Okay, so that's because of rancidity and oxidation. Okay, so manufacturers sometimes add antioxidants to fatty foods and oils to prevent oxidation. Okay, so food has to keep in the refrigerator to slow down the oxidation process. That is why we keep the things in refrigerator, to slow down oxidation and to slow down decomposition. So if they're if we leave them in if we leave them outside, then the oxidation process increases. Okay, and they very quickly they get like purana. Okay, so chips also, they get to avoid being they being oxidized, they put nitrogen gas in chips bag. Okay, in chips bag to make them to keep them crispy, they put nitrogen gas in them. Okay, so the chips bag, they have nitrogen gas in them, not the ordinary air. Okay, nitrogen in them. So these are the two examples, and inshallah next week we'll start new topic 4.4. Okay, you can go now and take 10 minutes break, full 10 minutes. Allah Hafiz.
Love
Okay, well, Hafiz, ma'am.
Hafiz, ma'am.
Hafiz.
Love.